thank you all so much for joining us. Like many Arizona families, I have experienced the stress and burden of financial ups and downs. I've sat at the kitchen table with my family and had the hard conversations about sacrifices that we need to make in order to pay the bills. These are the experiences that continue to fuel my commitment to making life better for working families across Arizona. I know these difficult conversations are happening every day across our state and country. Families are facing rising costs at every turn, including for healthcare. Experts project that last year, the annual cost of healthcare for a family of four would reach $31,000. For many middle-class families, that's nearly a third of their income. But healthcare is not just a line item in a budget, it's a building block for thriving. For many, healthcare is the difference between being confined to one's home and being able to enjoy time with their families. It's the difference between being held back by a chronic condition and pursuing a lifelong career. In some instances, healthcare is the difference between life and death. No Arizonan should have debt hanging over their head because they needed help through no fault of their own. As governor, I take seriously my duty to protect vulnerable Arizonans from falling into medical debt and make healthcare more affordable. Today, I am so proud to announce that we are taking steps to retire medical debt for up to an estimated 1 million Arizonans. That's a fresh start, a new chapter, and a huge weight taken off the shoulders for every single one of them. This is an investment in our future and reflects my commitment to put the needs of working Arizonans first. Using up to $30 million in American Rescue Plan funds, we are working with partners at RIP Medical Debt to buy back up to approximately $2 billion worth of medical debt held by Arizonans. Hardworking, middle-class Arizonans should not be forced to have those difficult kitchen table conversations because of medical debt from conditions they cannot control. And as a social worker, I can tell you that feeling stuck in a hole with no way out can snowball into problems far beyond debt. This is a win-win that will give so many Arizonans a clean slate and open the doors for a better future. I walk into my office every day thinking about how, as governor, I can make life better for Arizonans. And so this was an easy decision. Arizonans deserve a break, and they deserve a government that fights for them, helping ensure that medical debt is not going to torpedo their lives. I am proud to deliver this relief for Arizonans, and I'm grateful to the partners who have helped make this happen. Thank you so much. Sorry. Okay.
Well, thank you, Governor. My name is Jeff Smedsrud. I'm an Arizona resident and a longtime board member and volunteer for Rest in Peace Medical Debt. Rest in Peace Medical Debt was started 10 years ago. Since then, we have helped erase nearly $11 billion of medical debt affecting some 7 million Americans. Governor, today, because of your leadership, a new program is starting that will erase up to $2 billion of medical debt for Arizonans. This is the largest public-private initiative ever to wipe out medical debt. At least 750,000, perhaps more than 1 million, will soon be informed that their medical bills are gone. Their credit scores are on the way to improving. Their fear of getting the health care they need when they need it will be diminished. Medical debt causes people from all walks of life to feel less than instead of equal to. It happens by random chance. Cancer, a heart attack, delivery of a premature child, an accident that causes expensive treatment to save a life. No one can predict it. No one can plan for it. I know. I've been there. At Rest in Peace Medical, in addition to our work raising money from individuals and businesses, in the last 2 years, we started reaching out to local and state governments to tap new sources of funds, such as COVID relief dollars. This contract with the state of Arizona will use up to $30 million of COVID funds to erase medical debt for those earning less than 400% of the federal poverty level, or those whose debt equals 5% or more of their annual income. What is our ongoing role for Rest in Peace medical debt? Well, starting today, we're going to go out and find that medical debt. There's plenty of it. We're going to buy it from hospitals, providers, and debt collectors. We will notify credit bureaus. We will send letters to consumers telling them that their debt is anonymously wiped out. And then a beautiful thing happens, and that's the best part. Those for whom the debt is erased begin to engage in preventive care, which saves money. They begin to lead a healthier life. They become more likely to start a business, which is good for the economy. Their mental health improves, leading to more productive lives. And then thousands become activists like me and so many others who pay it forward, helping others with their medical debt. The best evidence, and there's mountains and mountains of data, and I'm happy to share any of that, but the best evidence comes from the individuals you're about to hear from. I want to thank the governor for her leadership, the healthcare community in Arizona, and everybody for looking out for each other. Let's go to work.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you, Governor. My name is Jim Baker, and I've been asked to share with you how medical debt has affected me and why it occurred. To start, my journey with medical debt began when I was diagnosed with stage 4 large B-cell lymphoma. I was treated over the course of a couple of years for that and incurred quite a bit of debt, but the treatment also led to a number of other conditions that subsequently needed to be treated. As I ran out of resources, I began to have to put most of my medical expenses on credit cards because I could not find medical care that would bill me and allow me to pay over time. The only option to continue care was to offer up my Visa or MasterCard. So I did. I regained some of my health, have been treated for other conditions that occurred, such as AFib and lymphedema and other things that all required specialists and scans and tests. So the debt began to mount. My resources ran out completely, and I continued just to try to get by day by day. I've learned that in order to get by, I have to do things like use the St. Mary's Food Bank or shop at thrift stores for clothing. This is one of my $4 specials from a thrift store in Sun City. But all these things, because I can no longer keep up with my friends, I can no longer participate in the social events and things that I used to do because I simply don't have the resources to do that. 2 years ago, unfortunately, I was diagnosed with a second cancer and had been under treatment for the last couple of years with anal cancer, which is a rare cancer, but even further isolates you, so even more expense occurred with testing and treatment from that. The debt has ended up where, I think Jeff used the word, it makes me feel less than. I've gone from being a contributing member of the community and always feeling that I paid my way to not being able to pay my way and having to ask for help. And to have that debt forgiven would just be a blessing that I can't imagine. I'm thankful to be alive. Every day I'm grateful for the medical care that I received from the community of doctors and healthcare practitioners in Phoenix. But in that, the only thing I'm left with is the endless process of paying debt and the recreation of walking with my dog. So that's kind of my story. That's what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you very much.
I have a very similar story, Jim, even though I'm half your age. I'm also wearing a $6 romper from a thrift store. Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to stand and speak with you all today. There was a time I never thought I would leave the hospital bed, so this is amazing. My name is Trinidad. My healthcare journey started very early in life. When I was 7 years old, I was hospitalized for the first time with a concussion. However, it was my best friend's last trip to the hospital, so we got to experience that together. One of my primary caregivers growing up was my grandfather, Claude. I want to show you guys a picture of him. Who had muscular dystrophy and taught me how to get by with long medical appointments with reading, writing, and expressing feelings from his automated wheelchair. He told me that knowledge is community strength and power. He is the reason I was able to attend Arizona State University for my master's degree in public policy, as he left me an educational trust fund that helped me become estranged to gain my own autonomy in adulthood. However, sickness does not discriminate, and it is usually a surprise. I have medical debt because I continue to find solutions to live and continue to mitigate symptoms. I learned that the world being not that accessible to all means that we truly need to work together and listen to each other's stories to empower the needs of one another. My life changed for the better when I was diagnosed after months of unexplained weight loss, unquenchable thirst, and infections that I had type 1 diabetes my senior year of college. Type 1 diabetes falls under the autoimmune disease systems, which means it affects my entire body's ability to produce something, and it means that my body is usually attacking itself by all germs, good and bad. I actually learned better boundaries, got stronger, connected to nature, and found foods that I'm not allergic to nourish my body, even though they're a little pricey. The local St. Mary's Food Bank also now includes gluten-free options, so I'm able to get resources from them as well. In the last 6 years of trying to maintain my diabetes, it's been discovered too that I have endometriosis, bladder incontinence, Hashimoto's thyroiditis, sensory autoprocessing disorder, migraines, and receiving for the first time psychiatric care to help with things that I have not been able to talk about. My insulin is actually not my most expensive prescription either. It is my monthly $745 migraine medicine. Without it though, I have 4 migraines a month. The words and everyday interactions with medical staff, friends, and family who did not understand my journey has left me completely isolated and alone. It's hard to keep up with everything together, but that's when I started my journey and became volunteering for Healthcare Rising Arizona and found out that others connected with their truth too. I'm just one of a million Arizonans who are struggling in silence with medical debt, and I know I'm lucky of a few who are also on borrowed time. I'm grateful for what Access has covered. However, it is expensive and necessary for me to go to the dentist for my teeth, even though there is no insurance covered to have proactive diabetes care, or bladder therapy, or TMJ disorder, which is a physical therapy where I get needles injected into my mouth for stopping migraines as well. My dog, who is a great portion of my A1C and mental health symptoms decreasing, who also got attacked, I had to put on my credit card his $2,000 vet bill, and there is no price to saving your best friend's life. As I still wish I had a longer time with my grandfather, I try to strive to be diligent and proactive independently as the cost of living rises. I'm in crippling debt, along with others, but I have learned to struggle and explain to my friends who are having babies at my age, I am barely able to have a healthy body, and I'm paying for my lights to stay on. I am so honored to have the opportunity to share with you guys. After years of sepsis, a kidney infection, 4 procedures, a 5-month-long urinary tract infection, and the total of 11 days in hospital care away from my fur baby, I survived, and we all will too, if we keep together to notice our stories matter. It felt like I was coming out of a black hole and I was forgotten. But with all of the volunteer work I've done in the last 2 years, I've been able to see that many of us are all waking up and recognizing that our health matters and the stories that in which are entailed with them. I wake up every day with a grateful heart, and I miss having supplementing money to go anywhere outside the house unless it's a free event as I pay off my heavy debts. But I'm so thankful for the quality of care I have. I would not be here today without any of the care that I was given in the last 3 years. I felt truly misunderstood my whole life until recently, with all of everyone's stories connecting me to realize I can stay here. Please know your pain is valid. If you are allowed to talk about your experiences in healthcare and the support you have for community members, you may not know how much it truly saves a life. Thank you so much.
All right, after the first speakers so we can do questions.
Hi.
Hi.
Good morning. Sounds like a brilliant plan. I've studied a little bit on RIP and know what they've done elsewhere. But it raises the question, ARPA funds are in fact state dollars. How do you avoid running afoul of gift clause to use $30 million of state money, even if you're leveraging it at 1 cent on the dollar, to pay down other people's debt?
I can assure you we would not be taking this action if we weren't fully confident in the legality of it. Arizona would not be the first jurisdiction to use ARPA dollars in this manner.
But we have an unusual gift clause in Arizona. I'm sure you've heard
Again,
about it.
I would not be taking this action if we weren't confident that it was legal.
Others?
So just kind of want to clarify here, maybe you can help answer this as well. So it's state government contract with the charity for 30 million, and you mentioned, I don't know if you said a 2 billion number in there too. I'm just kind of confused. as
Well,
to how this
it could be
trends.
up to $2 billion, somewhere in the $1.5 to $2 billion range. $30 million will relieve about that much debt because we buy it from debt collectors, hospitals, providers for roughly a penny to 2 cents on the dollar.
So the only number that's coming from federal funds that are technically state help is that 30 million?
That's correct.
Okay, so
Up to.
Yep.
Up to
Yeah.
30.
But there's a lot of volunteers out there. There's a Arizona Grassroots Initiative. It's not $30 million. It's everyday citizens in the last 2 months have raised $71,516, $25 at a time. It's a movement.
And then as of right now, you're estimating about a 1 million person impact on the state level, correct?
Yes.
How are those millions, you said it's anonymous, right? So how do you determine who's going to be given those?
We have no criteria other than we buy the debt from hospitals, debt collectors, other sources, providers. Those that are under 400% of the poverty level, or those who have debt equal to or greater than 5% of their annual income. We don't pick elderly people versus younger people, people of color versus not. We send out a notice to everybody in that database that qualifies and meets those definitions, and it just says, good news, your medical debt is gone. It's a non-taxable event because it was done anonymously. We notified the credit bureaus, your scores should improve, get back into the healthcare system.
Why did you pick 400% of FPL? That's, for a family of 4, that's about 120,000 and change. One would assume that, given a payment schedule, they might be able to pay off the debt. Why 400% of FPL?
That's the number. We have always set up a criteria. That number was set up as criteria 10 years ago. Perhaps over time it could change, but that's the criteria.
What's the timeline on this? It's a pretty few steps, so I'm just curious, general rough timeline.
I'm just going to turn it all over to you.
I'm a volunteer, so but very involved. It'll take place over the next 2 years. The COVID relief dollars would expire at the end of 26 or end of 25, but it'll take place over the next 2 years. We use words like approximate because we don't exactly know how many people, but it's big. It's very, very large.
So for Governor Hobbs, these programs in other states that have rolled them out, even supporters have noted that there is a need to go after the root of the problem, which is to eliminate or curb people from getting such high debts in the first place, and that is reforms at the hospital level. Are you looking at anything like that? And what can you tell us about what you would like to see change?
Certainly, I think this is one step in absolutely the right direction, but we know it doesn't fix the problem. And we've seen action like Prop 209 last year, federal action at the federal level to curb costs. So we know that more needs to be done, and we're certainly looking at how we can make things more affordable for Arizonans, including with healthcare.
For the
two of you, not sure if you guys could, one of you perhaps, could explain just how life-changing it is to have debt perhaps be erased.
For me, it would mean that I might be able to enjoy my retirement, which right now, the only thing I have to look forward to is every month paying my debt service and never being able to finally pay off the principles of it, and to kind of try and begin just living again. Everything right now in my life is at a minimum. I walk my dog for recreation, I visit with family, I go out to about one meal a month. If I'm lucky, I'll be able to go see a movie. Hopefully it'll be due this month. You know, it's that sort of thing. So if there were an opportunity to have my medical debt forgiven, then it would allow me to move on with my life in a substantial way instead of just a survival way.
Let me follow up specifically with you. Are you making come on down to the microphone because it's always easier for us to hear you.
Okay.
Are you making monthly payments now? Is it being deducted from Social Security? I mean, what are you paying now?
Well, now I specifically just received my Social Security income. Of that, all of it goes out to pay bills each month that were all medical bills for the most part that have now become credit card bills that incur monthly interest. I try to pay towards the principal every month, but it's a small amount towards principal. I'm able to do the debt service on the interest, and then in many months I get the principal down by 50 or $100 on each card. But that doesn't preclude the idea that some other further medical thing may come up. Right now, I'm finishing or trying to finish treatment for AFib, but the cardiac practice has asked that I go back in and have a cardiac monitor put on, because apparently working to heal myself from that has also led to another condition of a slow heart rate. So it seems to continue, and once they got a hold of you, it feels like they sort of maximize how much testing and things can be done. So
what do you hold right now when you get your credit card, all the stuff that you accumulated, the bills that come in?
everything rolled together, a little over 20,000. So I hesitate to ever move towards a bankruptcy, but if another cancer comes along, it would likely put me in that place where I would have to bankrupt on the consumer debt.
Any other questions?
Yeah, just a
I think we
follow-up
all-
question. What would you say is your income? Is it just strictly Social Security?
Strictly Social Security, right, came up just short of 30,000 in a year. So, in each month, my net, after I pay my monthly expenses and have any money left, is around $85 to $125 after rent, utilities, and expenses for the month. And that money has to cover gas or anything else I do. So,
I have almost the same amount too of debt.
Governor, if we can ask one other related thing going on. You noticed the little dust up downstairs when the House is going away and the Senate said over their cold dead body. What's your thoughts on 17 lawmakers deciding to take off a week in March, presumably while you're trying to work toward a budget? What's your thought about having 17 lawmakers, including the Speaker, gone?
We have important issues in front of us, including the need to pass a balanced budget. It's certainly not something I've seen in all my time in state government, including my 8 years in the legislature. And I think that lawmakers should be doing the jobs that Arizonans elected them to.
Can you speak to how that trip is affecting budget negotiations?
We're negotiating at a staff level at this, or not, negotiating is a premature word. We are having discussions at a staff level right now.
So Speaker Toma being gone doesn't really impact the budget?
I mean, it could, yes.
So you're negotiating to negotiate?
I mean, we're getting there. This is certainly putting a damper on things.
Governor, a raft of immigration bills coming from Republican lawmakers are starting to make their way across
Yep.
your desk. When I spoke with Speaker Tomey, he said these are in response to failure not only by the Biden administration, but by your office to address issues at the border. I want to know if you have a response to that.
Well, I absolutely understand Arizonans' frustration with lack of federal action on the border. I certainly share their frustration. It is an absolute mischaracterization to say that my office hasn't done anything on border security. We've allocated tens of millions of dollars to local communities and law enforcement to mitigate the flow of fentanyl, to address security concerns. We're going to continue to do that. These bills don't do anything to really address border security issues that we're facing.
Do you think if the voters, some of this is going directly to voters, like the verified measure the speaker has, I'm sure you've taken the temperature of folks out there and the frustration, whether it's with Congress or the Biden administration. Do you think voters, if presented with something they think will solve the border problem, will approve it? And have we take a position on things like 2060?
I haven't thought that far ahead. I'm not thinking about the next election, but I certainly understand that voters are frustrated and want to see something that will resolve this.
All right, we got time for like one more
Is
question.
there any update on the teacher retention task force, the recommendations having been implemented or going through the process?
One of the things that we proposed was a study on adding school district employees to state and health insurance, and that's, I think, moving through as a budget item. That'll have a huge impact for affordability for healthcare for teachers and educators.
Governor, what are you hoping the heat preparedness plan does for this summer? Considering it's probably going to be as warm as it was last year.
Yeah, I mean, Arizonans are continuing to feel the effects of climate change, and this is the first in the nation state level having a state level coordinator, and it's going to be really important to address our efforts and coordinating with local jurisdictions on the cooling centers, which we kind of saw fell short last summer, and we want to be ahead of the curve this year. I also want to mention one action that we took is we're really pushing on the federal LIHEAP funding to make sure that it can be used for Arizonans in response to heat relief, and not just in the eastern states where it's used for extreme cold.
All right, we got color wraps.
One more on topic, sorry. Can the first question was about, your confidence in this not violating the DICT clause. Can you just be more specific about how you evaluated that? Like, did you look at it, just any specifics?
Yeah, council was really involved in helping develop this contract.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.